You see, we all say education is necessary, but very few stop to ask why. Why should one be educated? Is it to earn money? To get a job? To gain respect? Or is there something far deeper, something far more fundamental? Let's begin logically. The human being, unlike an animal, is born incomplete. The body grows by itself, yes, but the mind does not grow by itself. A baby's mind is a blank page, full of potential, but directionless. Education is the process that gives direction to that potential. Without education, we are not human in the real sense. We only remain biological creatures. The lion knows how to hunt because it is instinctively programmed. The bird knows how to build a nest. But man, he is not born with a fixed manual. He must learn, reflect, and choose his path consciously. That's where education steps in. Education is not just about information. Information can be gathered from a smartphone. You can search the entire internet and still remain uneducated. Education is the ability to think rightly, to question, to reason, to see beyond the surface. To be educated is to be able to discriminate, to know what is true and what is false. Now, let's reason this out further. Why do we see chaos in society? Corruption, exploitation, blind following. All of these are the results of uneducated minds, people who never learned to think. They memorized facts but never learned to question. They passed exams but failed in life. True education is the art of awakening intelligence. Intelligence is not cleverness. Cleverness manipulates. Intelligence understands. A clever man can cheat others. An intelligent man can help others see clearly. Education must lead to intelligence, not merely cleverness. So, education is necessary not because it makes you rich, but because it makes you right. Not because it helps you succeed, but because it helps you see. Let's go deeper. What is the difference between a knowledgeable person and an educated person? A knowledgeable person knows many things, but may still be arrogant, narrow-minded, or violent. An educated person in the real sense is humble, because he knows how little he knows. Knowledge fills the mind, but education transforms it. Education is also not something that ends with school or college. If education ends with a degree, it was never education, it was training. Real education is lifelong. It continues as long as one is alive and learning from every experience, every mistake, every relationship. The truly educated person does not merely adapt to society. He questions it, refines it, and uplifts it. He becomes a light in the darkness, not just another follower in the crowd. Now think logically again. What happens when a society ignores education? It falls into superstition and fear. People start believing anything they're told. They lose the power of reasoning, and that's when exploitation begins. Education is the shield against mental slavery. It is the vaccine against manipulation. But here's the most important point. Education must not only be of the brain, it must also be of the heart. A man who knows physics, chemistry, and mathematics but not compassion is half-educated. The true purpose of education is to awaken both intelligence and sensitivity. A person must learn to see clearly and feel deeply. If he can see without feeling, he becomes mechanical. If he feels without seeing, he becomes emotional and unstable. Real education balances both, clarity and compassion, logic and love. Now, logically, ask yourself, who is more dangerous, an uneducated man or a wrongly educated one? An uneducated man may harm himself, but a wrongly educated man who uses his intelligence for selfishness or destruction can harm the whole world. So the necessity of true education becomes even more urgent. True education is not a luxury. It is the foundation of freedom. It frees you from blind beliefs, from fear, from ignorance, and from imitation. It gives you the courage to think independently. It allows you to say, "I do not know," and then go and find out. That's why education is necessary, because without it, man lives as a slave to his surroundings. He becomes what society makes him, what advertisements tell him, what politicians manipulate him to be. Education gives him individuality, responsibility, and awareness. To be educated is to become conscious, to wake up from the dream of conditioning. It is to live intelligently, not mechanically. It is to respond freshly to every situation, not from the burden of the past. So, let's not confuse schooling with education. Schools may provide degrees, but only you can educate yourself. True education begins when curiosity is born, when you start asking, why? Why am I doing this? Why do I believe this? Why do I follow this path? When that questioning begins, education has begun. Therefore, the necessity of education is not in filling your head, but in freeing your mind. It is not to make you somebody, it is to help you understand yourself. And when you understand yourself, you understand the world, because you are not separate from it. So, remember, the most uneducated person is not the one who cannot read or write, but the one who cannot think freely. And the most educated person is not the one who knows the most, but the one who sees the most clearly. Education, therefore, is not about what you learn. It's about what you unlearn. It is to remove all that is false so that truth can shine naturally. That's why education is necessary, not for the world outside, but for the revolution inside.